Hello, so this video is about why you were chosen by the narcissist. Now, this is something that many of us get really hung up about, especially if we've had more than one experience with a narcissist. It can make us think that there's something wrong with us or something broken with us or something missing, that we keep attracting these people. But what I want to tell you today is that you were particularly chosen by this person. Now, usually when a narcissist is seeking some grade A primary supply, they will be talking to a few people. And what they do is they go on an initial fact find in order to get as much information as they can to see whether or not it's worth pursuing a relationship or a friendship with that person. They go on a fact find in order to see if they're going to tick the boxes. So you will find that when you first met this person, they listened intently to you, they asked lots of questions, and they wanted to get to know you. Now, at that time, your empathic self probably felt really lit up by that. You felt like they were being very present, they were really curious about you, they were interested in you. It was like nothing you'd ever experienced before. These are what are considered to be red flags, and in the future these are things that you will look for, because it becomes intense very, very quickly. But what they're doing is they're finding out more and more about you to see whether or not it's worth pursuing a relationship or a friendship or a co-worker's relationship with you, because they are seeking some supply. Now, they will deliberately choose particular kinds of people. So when they start asking you the questions and going into the fact find, they want different boxes to be ticked. Now, the kind of boxes that they want to be ticked are, they want people who are impressive in some way, because external validation is really, really important to them. So they want to know things like how much money you've got, what you do for a living, what kind of car you've got. So they're looking for a trophy type of a person. So if you're relatively successful in your life, if you're attractive, if you're funny, if you have a nice personality, then they are all things that they know that other people are going to find interesting, that they're going to consider to be successful. And that for them becomes a bit of a win, because they are then trying to hook you in as a trophy, because they are going to get validation from that, because people are going to think, wow, they are quite a catch, or wow, they've got a lovely friend. So they're going to get that external sort of win, that validation from that. The other things that they are looking for, I have a list here, people who give compliments and validation. So if you are a person who's open-hearted and genuine, and you are complimentary, and you tell them that, you know, you like what they're wearing, or you're impressed by A, B, and C, a work project, by their car, by whatever it is, if you are giving them validation and compliments, that ticks a box for them, because that means to them that you could be a good source of supply. People with poor or weak boundaries are often preyed on by emotional abusers and narcissists. So when you're having a conversation with this person, they might try and test your boundaries. They might try and push your boundaries a little bit more, just to see whether or not your boundaries are a little bit pliable. You might say, oh, no, thank you, I don't want a glass of wine with lunch, I don't drink through the day. And they might say, oh, don't be silly and order you one anyway. That's a boundary violation. But at the time when that happens, part of you might think, oh, they're so lovely, they're really looking after me. No, they're not. They're testing your boundaries. Okay. And if you've got boundaries that they can easily violate, that is a big tick for them. A high degree of empathy. So if you're a person who talks about being kind to other people, being open-hearted, being interested in other people's well-being, that is going to be a box that they want to tick, because they like people who have a high degree of empathy, because that means that you are going to be empathic or empathetic, whichever way you want to say it, towards them, and that you're likely to behave in ways that it's going to be easier to extort that supply from. Someone looking for love, if you tell them that you're looking for love and it's a possible romantic connection, then that's going to be a big box ticked, because they know then that you're open, you're searching, and you're going to be quite easy to influence in terms of them being the one. So that's something that they can give a tick to. They usually look for people who avoid conflict as well, and through that questioning and conversation, they can steer you towards examples of this, and people who are people pleasers as well. So if you exhibit any kind of people pleasing behavior, whether it's really subtle or not, so say for example you've met for lunch and a person wants to there's one chair that's in around the table that's in a much better position, you might say, oh, do you want to sit in that chair so you can see what's going on in the room? I don't mind having my back to the room, when really that's the best seat and you've given it up. So that's a little subtle people pleasing sign to them. You could say it's just being kind and reasonable, of course, but it's also kind of saying to an emotional abuser that you're prepared to put yourself second and put them first. And they are looking for all of these signs and signals during the first few times that they meet you, because they're screening you. Loyalty is really important to them as well. So if you can demonstrate that you have any loyalty, then they will see that as a box tick too, because obviously they want to be able to isolate you from people and make you loyal to them. So what I'm saying with all of these points that I'm making is that when a narcissist or emotional abuser first meets you, and during those first few meetings, they're kind of screening you, and you will know if you've passed that screening test, because that's when the love bombing will start, and that's when things will get more intense. Once they've decided that you are a candidate, then they will try and move you along the process, and things will get very fast and very intense. The love bombing will start, and you will be swept off your feet until you're recruited as a source of supply, and by then for many of us it's too late. So what I want you to take from this video is that it was deliberate. They sought out someone like you. It's not your fault. All of the traits that you have that make you a nice, decent, caring, loving, open-hearted, genuine, authentic, kind individual, they will exploit as weaknesses. And we mustn't change who we are. That is who we are. And when we are in healthy relationships and healthy friendships and healthy work situations, then all of those things are massive advantages and support a healthy relationship. But when you're in a situation with someone who deliberately wants to take advantage of you and control you, they do become weaknesses in that moment. So this is about, I want you to be able to identify the fact that you were recruited, that it's not your fault, because a big part of recovering from emotional abuse is about us struggling with things like guilt and shame. Why didn't I see it coming? Why didn't I know? Why did I stay so long? These people are smart. They have tactics and they have a process that they go through. And we don't know about that process until you get on the other side and you realise what has happened. So I want you to maybe reflect back, if you feel you want to and it's going to be useful, on the way that you were recruited, and see that it was an actual process and that you were totally unaware of it at the time. And lovely, open-hearted, empathic, trusting you had no idea that this was a strategy, a process. You were being interviewed, okay? And when you look back at it, you can realise that that happened and that they're smart and calculated. I want you to let yourself off the hook. It was not your fault. You did not know what was going on. And now you do know that that is the process. You're never going to fall for it again. I hope that's helped. Lots of love.